specifically, Mr. Norman, what do you think about whistleblowers?
Well, I think generally speaking, they can be very useful.
Next.
Is that it?
You've got to have whistleblowers, and you've got to have a whistleblower policy, especially...
Well, yes, you do. You've got to have whistleblowers, but I know Mr. Norman doesn't like whistleblowers.
Okay, let's let Rico
No,
answer the
but
question.
obviously, especially if you look at child protection and everything that goes on with child protection, and obviously we've had a huge child abuse scandal over here. Now, one of the problems is whistleblowing. Now, after the big scandal broke, if there's not a whistleblowing policy in place, people are very frightened to voice if they see something going on, and they don't want to voice it because otherwise they'll get ostracised and they can get pushed out of their job. So there's got to be a whistleblowing policy where someone can go independently and voice their concerns, whatever the issue may be, and whatever.
As you know, as you know yourself, people are scared.
Well, that's right. That should be a policy.
And there's no policy, as you know, and people are scared to say what there is. But when you have a whistleblower and you've got the government stopping that whistleblowing, we're not stopping it, but making sure you can't, because it's going to affect yourself or your family. Where do you stand on that?
No, there should be a policy, absolutely. And especially when it comes to children, safeguarding children, that's the first thing that should be in place.
I agree with you that, but surely it's going to go across the board.
Yeah,
Vicky's
yeah, of course.
Sorry, Vicky's an employment lawyer. And can you give us a bit of background about what protection there is in the employment law for whistleblowers? Is it a matter of company policy, or is there any legislation in place over here?
There's none in Jersey that relates specifically to employment at the moment. So in some places in the UK, there is a sort of whistleblowing legislation. I think it's a really good question, but it's one of those questions where there are shades of it. Because when you think about whistleblowing, it's fundamentally important that if people see something wrong with the system, that they can raise that so that it can be addressed, so that it can change. So the right to challenge the system is crucial. The right to be able to draw attention to problems is crucial. The right to freedom of speech is crucial. None of those are necessarily unfettered rights. There's always a question of checks and balances. And I'll give you an example. If, for example, you want to raise an issue about, let's say there's a care home, a problem in a care home, whether it's abuse of children or abuse of elderly residents, it's really important that that is brought to light so that it can be addressed. Where there's a question about whistleblowing is remembering the rights of the individuals concerned as well. And so there may be a balance in terms of protecting the privacy of the individuals concerned. So there is a balance. I think it's not an unfettered right.
If you're whistleblowing in the bounds of the law, if you're reporting something which is your duty to do so, and you get slated for it, and you get dismissed for it, where do you stand?
So
Where's the law to back
it
up?
If you get dismissed for it, then you can bring a claim for unfair dismissal if in fact it is
Against the states of Jersey?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what realistic chance do you think that's going to go through?
Pretty good, actually, because...
Pretty good?
Yeah, the tribunal...
Well, you're even more naive than I am then.
I'll say that on the balance of outcomes and tribunal decisions in Jersey. So the tribunal is made up of normal men and women. So there's always a lawyer on the panel, but it has normal men and women.
Which is picked from
trade unions on one side. And
no, who picks them? Who picks them?
So the states of Jersey picks those individuals.
So the states pick the people who's going to assess that complaint.
My experience, having read
so it's really a non-starter, isn't it?
That's your view, which you're perfectly entitled to. My view is that actually you get a very fair crack at the whip in the tribunal, and I say that from having read hundreds of judgments of the tribunal, many of which I disagree with, many of which I agree with. So I think that actually you're going to get a fair part.
So many you disagree with. How many of you stood up for and said, I disagree with?
So I've appealed. I mean, I act on the instructions of my clients. So I only stand up and say I disagree if I'm getting paid to act for one party or the other. That's generally.
I rest my case. You only do it if you get paid.
Yeah, because it's my job.
Rod, you've been around, I think, all the schools now, since you've taken on the education department. Do you talk to teachers a lot? Have they got an opportunity to raise concerns with you?
That's not been the purpose of my visits, but I think Vicky's actually covered it in quite a lot of detail, to be fair. I think you'll always get whistleblowers, people who always take the opportunity where they think something's gone wrong to actually stand up and say, quite passionately say, I think there's been a mistake made here. And I think, as she's already identified, this is a human right to turn around and get the information out into the public domain so people can begin to work on it. So I don't think teachers in the schools that I've been to have not raised any particular issues with me in that sort of context.
Okay. Sam, your thoughts on whistleblower legislation?
I think I pretty much agree with every word that Rico said before and wouldn't have a huge amount to add to that. We obviously do need a proper piece of legislation in Jersey regarding whistleblowers and safeguarding people who, whether it's in the workplace or in something else, have a genuine grievance or they spot something that they think is wrong and they feel the need to speak out about it so something can be done. That's obviously absolutely fundamental and essential and something we should be getting on with. One of the problems we have in Jersey, though, is many of our institutions have some very unhealthy crossovers which would make this difficult, because if you're whistleblowing to somebody, you want to know that the person you're speaking to has no connection to the people you're actually whistleblowing about. You know, and it's difficult in a small island, but I have to be honest, I don't think we're making the effort as much as we should be at the moment. For example, if you had a problem with the you wanted to whistleblow about something you knew about in the honorary police, for example. Well, one of the people with a huge involvement in the honorary police is the Attorney General, who also has a very big role in the courts. So straight away there's a problem there. If you've got a problem with the states of Jersey, or in particular perhaps states members or states chamber, the head of that is also the head of the court. That's something that is a real problem, absolutely must be changed. So as well as implementing a whistleblowing law, we need, I think, to separate many of these institutions apart and have a proper appointments process to make sure none of the links that are perhaps common in a small island can possibly have any influence, and the people are absolutely objective and won't be bound by their relationship with any person who you may be complaining about.